Black History Month has nothing to do with it being the shortest month of the year. What's up, everyone? It's your girl Concrete Rose, and I'm here to bring you yet another vibe session for your mind, alright? We are here to talk about Black History Month and the history of Black history. Now, before we get deep into this discussion, I want to make it clear, and this may be a trigger warning, this may even be a surprise to some of you. However, Black History Month has nothing to do with it being the shortest month of the year. It has nothing to do with somebody giving us the shortest month of the year. However, it has everything to do with us taking back our rich heritage and history and honing in on the people that made it possible for us to be where we are today. And we have Carter G. Woodson to thank for that. If you are unfamiliar with Carter G. Woodson, he is the author of The Miseducation of the Negro. He also wrote A Century of Negro Migration, as well as The History of the Negro Church. This man right here had a master plan, and here we are so many years later still following out his vision and then some. Now, Mr. Woodson founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. Mr. Woodson first started out with Negro History Week. He made this announcement in 1925, and in February of 1926 is when the very first celebration of events kicked off. Mr. Woodson thought that if we celebrate Negro History Week in the week of the birthday of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, that will be a really good nod and commemoration to two of the men that are responsible for where we are today as Black people. And with that, he would educate people not only about what Abraham Lincoln did and about Frederick Douglass, but he would also get people to start a conversation about all of the strides that we and Black people have made, and also hone in on a slew of people that made it possible for us to be where we are today, and so forth and so on. Now, Mr. Carter G. Woodson knew that a week would not do justice for all of the rich history that we as Black people have, but he knew that we needed to get a conversation started on who we are as Black people, where we come from, and what great stock we are made of in accordance to all of the accomplishments and people that achieved those accomplishments. He wanted to get the community talking and get this implemented into Black schools, churches, etc., etc., and he did just that, because once he started off with Negro History Week in 1926, it got an overwhelming amount of love and support, and people gravitated to it naturally and almost instantaneously. And from that, when we get into the civil rights movement and things like that, that is when it really took off, because there was such a big consciousness and a big massive awakening to where people really honed in on Black History Month, Negro History Week. And it wasn't until 1976 when President Ford really urged people to seize the moment to celebrate the accomplishments that were always neglected by Black people. He wanted us to take this time to reflect on all of the accomplishments of Black people in America and all of the great strides that we've made thus far. Now, it wasn't until President Carter when we actually got Black History Month in 1978. And that's when we got Black History Month. However, it all started out with Mr. Woodson seeing fit that we really take back what it is to be Black, to hone in on our achievements, and to let our kids know that we have so many black people to look up to and so much to be proud of. Mr. Woodson is the creator of Black History Month by way of Negro History Week. Now, of course, the name went through different name changes to African American History Month, to African American History Week, and things like that because of the negative connotation we have with the word Negro. But nonetheless, Black History Month started with Negro History Week dating back to 1926 with the very first celebration. It has absolutely nothing to do with us being given this short month to celebrate, you know, everything that's black, because we all know that we are black 365 days of the year. That is very apparent. However, at that time, we were disconnected. We still are disconnected today, and Mr. Carter G. Woodson saw a gap and he filled it. So this talk of, you know, having a negative feeling or a negative view of Black History Month because we think or feel that it was just thrown at us, no. That is something that we took upon ourselves to take back as black people, and we should show it nothing but love and the utmost respect, because it took an innovator and a visionary like Mr. Woodson to fill that need, to fill that void that we had as black people. And he definitely understood that a week could do absolutely not as much as even a month could do. But taking that moment to teach our kids, having that week of where schools focused in on Black History Week did a lot. And think about how much it has done for us having a whole month to take that time to talk about these people, figures, and the accomplishments that we have had throughout the years. And because it started out with a week, now we have a month. And now that we have been honing in on this month, and a lot of us have seen the gap that a month gives and brings, because of course a lot of schools have not done its due diligence to even do Black History Month any justice. But even because we saw that gap with Black History Month, just like we saw that gap with Black History Week, now we have this talk year round of all of the amazing accomplishments and needs and wants for black people. So acknowledging that this month was thought of by a black person gives Black History Month in itself so much power, and it has given us as black people so much power over the years. When we think about the civil rights movement and that boom of consciousness, they really honed in on Negro History Week, so much so that the battle pushed on to really get Black History Month, because Mr. Carter G. Woodson wanted a month. However, he knew that starting with the week would get us to that month. And just like we saw that gap for that week with the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement and that boom of consciousness, it has spilled over into us to where now we say that we don't even need a month. We can be proud of ourselves every single day of the year. And that started out with us being proud of our heritage for that week. It took us being proud of our heritage for that month, thanks to Carter G. Woodson. So having this connotation, having this negative connotation about Black History Month is definitely not needed, because that's something that we started. So that's something that we should hold on to and, you know, continue to give it that positive energy, that positive love and respect that our ancestors had for it, because it was those ancestors that gave us this Black History Month, that gave its children that black pride, that black power. And it started with us saying, you know what, we are going to take a week and we're going to flood our children's minds. We're going to flood the community with all of the stuff that we gave to this country, and all of the stuff that we will continue to give this country for years and years and years and decades and eons. Okay, so that is the history of Black History Month. I hope that you share this with all of your loved ones. I hope that this is food for thought. Definitely buy The Miseducation of the Negro. Definitely buy The History of the Negro Church and all of Mr. Carter G. Woodson's books that he has written. He's written over 20 books in his lifetime. He definitely did not die in vain because his death really led to that push in the 1950s for us to push on for his vision of having a Black History Month. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you share this video. If you feel that this video gave you food for thought and it fed your soul, definitely follow me on the Patreon app. I will have this video on YouTube and on Patreon. Definitely become a patron if you would like. I will be uploading videos that only people on Patreon can see in the very near future. Other than that, peace and blessings. Have a wonderful Black History Month and continue to be proud of your history every single day of the year. Follow what our ancestors have done in terms of having those positive strides, but also take the time to learn from our ancestors' mistakes. Oftentimes we only hone in on all of the positive things that our ancestors have done. However, we can learn from their mistakes to be better as a people and to teach our children those mistakes. We'll teach them about those mistakes so that they can also be better and, you know, continue to share their pride in themselves and who they are as a Black person. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.